Good morning, and thank you so much for joining us today here at the beautiful Bayshore Marina. It's days like today that really make you want to get out on the boat, head to the beach, and truly enjoy the water and all our wonderful island community has to offer. But if this past weekend serves as any sort of a sobering reminder, the beauty of Long Island and its surrounding waters are not ours alone to enjoy. We share it with the animals that call it home. And while we should not be afraid to swim and take advantage of all that our usual recreational activities have available to us here on Long Island and help make it so memorable, we should also stay vigilant and informed on the best practices to do so wisely. By now, you might be aware of several shark encounters and incidents that took place over the 4th of July weekend. Multiple shark sightings in the 3 to 4 foot range were reported just past the breaker line at multiple beaches in Atlantique, Dunewood, Fair Harbor East, and Fair Harbor West. And that's just here in the town of Islip. Certainly there were others out east. 50 sand sharks was spotted near Robert Moses, causing swimming to be prohibited. Shark bites were reported at Quogue, Fire Island, Pines, Kismet, and Robert Moses. To shed some light on the frequency of these reports, I'm going to turn it over to New York State DEC marine biologist Christopher Scott, who really can speak to the why this is happening now. Chris?
Sure. Thank you, Angie. So the annual migration of sharks into New York State waters seems to be coinciding with the bathing season. We expect to see sharks here in New York every June through September, typically coinciding with the summer months. We have 13 different shark species here that migrate out from the south. They can typically be found around forage fish schools like Atlantic Menhaden, also called bunker. These animals are in their natural habitat. They're wild animals, and bathers should, take precautions when they enter the water. They could do so safely, but they should be aware of their surroundings. Listen to the lifeguards. Don't go in where there's schools of bait fish or splashing fish in the water. Don't go in at dusk, dawn, or nighttime. If the water's murky, that could increase the encounter rate because sharks don't necessarily may misidentify their prey species. So these are all things that bathers can do to reduce their risk of a negative interaction with a shark here in New York. I would say it's best not to panic. You can still enjoy the beach and have a good time.
Chris, can I see your full name and your title, please?
Sure. My name is Christopher Scott. I'm a supervising biologist at DEC's Division of Marine Resources.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Scott.
It's happening earlier and earlier. Is it the warmer water or the bait fish coming in? It seems like the last couple of years it's been happening earlier. Normally August, now it's happening in June, July.
Sure. So the marine ecosystem is incredibly complex. Things like forage fish presence, ocean currents, ocean water temperatures will all decide where these sharks can be found. So climate change can have impacts on the distributions of their food. It could also have impacts on the distributions of the shark species themselves. We're having longer, warmer summers, so the amount of time sharks are in our water throughout the year is increasing. So these are all things that can impact the presence of shark activity in New York.
Basically, where they feed fish are, the sharks are.
Yeah, typically if there's food around, you can expect them to be around too.
Did the nursery off the Great South Bay, are you familiar with it?
Sure. So many of our South Shore estuaries act as nursery grounds for small sharks. These sharks were spawned down south and they migrate up into New York waters. Estuaries like here in Great South Bay provide ample food and protection from larger sharks. So they spend the summer here, not only in the bays, but in the inlets and in the nearshore ocean.
So I think the first one was spotted, correct me if I'm wrong, in 2016. We're in 2023. Are we seeing those sharks, or are the waters cleaner? Is it a combination?
Sorry, I'm not understanding your question.
So I think the first nursery was spotted. The first shark nursery was spotted back in 2016.
So there are shark research groups throughout New York that work throughout the entire South Shore. Wildlife Conservation Society has been studying Great South Bay specifically, and they've identified a nursery of sand tiger sharks. It's nothing to be concerned about. This is their natural habitat that offers them food and protection. There's never been a negative interaction within the bay between bathers and sharks. So,
Okay, I'm going to ask you to hold your questions. We'll have ample time for that when we're done. Chris, thank you so very much for that. Again, it's giving us a little bit of the why and why now. In one of the confirmed shark bite incidents, the swimmer, a 15-year-old, had entered the water after lifeguards were off duty, requiring a 911 call. To speak more about the importance of water safety, especially following the guidelines set by lifeguards, I'd like to invite our senior ocean lifeguard, Alex Chilione, who has been with the town probably over 30 years now, and certainly our Commissioner of Parks, Recreation, and DPW, Tom Owens, is joining us here today and can attest to Alex's diligence over the years as one of our top lifeguards. So Alex, if you would, give us a little bit of insight into some of the protocols now.
Absolutely. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Absolute pleasure to be here today. So stay safe on the beach. There's many things you really want to keep in mind. When heading to the beach, you should always be aware of your beach rules. It's imperative to understand your current conditions, whether it's weather or beach conditions, especially if there's any riptides that day. You want to be conscious of that. You should always swim within the lifeguard area, which is extremely important. Obviously, never swim alone. No matter what your skill level is in swimming, you should always kind of work on a buddy system. As I said, understanding water conditions is extremely important for your safety and the safety of others. We have specific flag signs at the beach, and they indicate certain risks. If you look here at the sheet or the poster, double flags crossed means there is no swimming at that time. The beach is not safe for swimming. So if you ever see two red flags crossed in front of the lifeguard chair, please do not enter the water. Red flags indicate maybe some rough surf, some rip currents. If you see red with purple, purple is going to indicate there was some marine life that was indicated or seen for that day. Yellow is just a cautionary. Could be some rough surf, and then green is obviously go ahead, have some fun in that area. If you ever do find yourself caught in a rip current, you most certainly want to stay calm. Do not panic. Always give a wave to the lifeguard if you feel that you're in trouble. As I said, I've been here for a long time, and I know that you're in good hands at the town of Islip lifeguards. If you get a little tired, float on your back and kind of let the rip current take you out. And then if you're feeling great, just kind of swim parallel to the beach and kind of get yourself out of that rip current and get yourself back in. But other than that, I wish everyone a happy and safe summer. Thank you.
Alex, can I have your full name and your title, please?
Alex Chilione. I'm a senior lifeguard and a shop steward for the town of Islip.
Spell that last name.
Sure. SCICHILONE. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alex, and for all you do, and the rest of the team of lifeguards who we really cherish. They do a great job for us here in the town of Islip. One of the considerations that could be increasing the frequency of shark bites is an increase in the various fish species in our waters that the sharks like to feast on. The Atlantic State Marine Fishery Commission recently proposed a change in legislation that would increase the restrictions on recreational fishing of striped bass. And as a member of the town of Islip, the county Supervisors Association, I co-chair it with Supervisor Schaefer from Babylon. We had sent a letter in opposition to this. The overfishing is not currently an issue, and increased fish attract more sharks to our waters. So it might be better to allow more fishing to decrease the pool of food that is there as a source, inviting the sharks to come feast here. I just can't emphasize that enough. You know, the overfishing is really not a problem, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And as we've heard from the experts here today, there seems to be more to feed on in our waters for a number of reasons. At this time, if anyone has any questions, we'd be happy to entertain them.
As far as, you know, could you just clarify, they're not going for people? I think they're being just, they're getting caught up trying to chase bait fish.
Sure. So many of these incidents, when we interview lifeguards and first responders, those that were on the scene, we ask what the environmental conditions look like. Oftentimes there's a lot of bait fish in the water where the water clarity is very murky, and these both increase the odds of a shark misidentifying its prey and the odds of a negative interaction happening with the bather. So if a bather happens to be further offshore beyond the sandbar where these forage fish are, and it might be murky, there's a greater chance that a shark might interact with a bather.
And also just to,
What's the scenario? Swimming, double cross sharks, what do you do?
So you would stay calm and slowly back out of the water, keep your eyes on the animal, and alert the lifeguards of what you saw.
Alex, do you want to add to that as far as what to do if you do see a shark?
Well, I think that was said pretty well. You know, stay calm, swim slowly, back, keeping your eye on the animal as well, and get to shore safely.
It's the nervousness and the splashing also attracts them even more.
I would assume it could excite them, yes, but stay calm and just slow movements. I would suggest.
But at all times, I think the message has to be to swim in a lifeguarded area, to swim during the hours that the lifeguards are on duty, because the young man that was bit, that was when the beach was already closed. So you really have to follow the rules. It really will decrease the number of these kinds of incidents. And I really want to thank everyone for coming down today and helping us get out that message, because in addition to all of the press and coverage on the incidents, there's been very little said as to maybe why. So hopefully that's helped clarify it and you're helping get that out. So we thank you.
Supervisor, one quick question for you. Go over what you're looking to do about the restrictions again when it comes to fishing.
Well, there's a bill being proposed to change the length of the fish that can be kept, and it would increase the number of fish being thrown back that are caught. So rather let them keep fishing the way they're fishing, rather than create a scenario where there are going to be even more fish in the bay that the fishermen are not legally allowed to catch. Okay?
One of the reasons we're kind of having this situation is the bay hasn't been this clean in decades, and so it's just attracting.
It's like good news, bad news. The bay is cleaner than it's been, and that's a wonderful thing, but because the bay is cleaner than it's been, it's attracting more sharks and easier to see what's going on in the water. So we would like to think that we've helped contribute to that increase in the water clarity in our bay and the purity of the Great South Bay with our shellfish hatchery program and the millions and millions of seeds that we have grown there. And right now, the town of Islip is producing between 20 to 25% of the amount of seedlings that are being harvested statewide. So we're really doing our part. And I thank you for doing yours. Thanks so much.